The odds that something serious happens while you're at work are pretty huge. Think about it. Where were you during 9/11, the Newtown shooting, the Boston bombing? These isolated incidents are good examples of how much we are at work. So today, we're going to talk about your get home from work plan. Given how much time we're at work, if we work outside of our home, you realize the odds of something serious happening while you're at work are pretty huge. What happens if something serious like, say, an EMP or a terror attack happens while you're at work? Are you prepared to react? How are you going to get home, and how are you going to get the rest of your family home? Well, today I have 3 simple and important factors that could assure you make it home, even in the worst circumstances. So let's get into this whole scenario here that I put in front of you. Now, of course, the first thing we're going to talk about, and the cornerstone of any get-home plan, is your get-home bag. It waits for you in the car, and it should contain everything you need to get home on foot if need be. Remember, our vehicles may not be running, so you want something that's fairly light and fast, but you got to have that perfect balance there of weight, but yet the ability to carry it on your back should your car not work. Now, I have tons of videos on creating a get-home bag or bug-out bag. All you got to really do is go to my channel and search. But the key here is light and fast. You want to be able to get home as quickly as possible with the lightest weight as possible. Now, a lot of that will depend on how far home is away from work. Changes of clothing, cook kits, food, tents, and other supplies are not needed if you work 2 miles from home. But if you work 50 miles from home, they very well may be. Something like that would be good for a 2-mile, trek. Maybe I have a couple energy bars in there, some water, maybe an umbrella if it's raining, or a tarp or whatever. A few little basic things that you can walk home 2 or 3 miles from work and you'll be okay. You may not even open the bag in that short of a walk, but you may also end up using some of it. So it's handy to have a good first aid kit, little things like that can help you get home easily and quickly. It also depends a lot on your threat of your area. Do you worry about tornadoes? Do you have a lot of bad rain? Maybe you want to throw a pair of rubber boots in there. Whatever you're going to need for your trip home. Now, if you live, say, if you work 50 miles away from home, maybe that bigger bag would be right for you. And that is actually, this is really my range bag for currently. That is actually my travel bag. When I go on trips, say if I go overnight to Vegas or overnight anywhere, I take that with me along with my regular gear and along with my regular stuff that I pack, so that I know I have supplies in there. Now, that's a little bit on the heavy side because it's got some comfort items in there too, like thing to make coffee, a lot of that other stuff, a stove in there. It's got some comfort items, I'll admit. It's mainly a travel bag. But a bigger bag like that might be needed if you have to walk, say, 50 miles home. That's going to take you maybe a day or two. You might need a shelter of some kind. You might need a tarp, a tent, whatever. You're definitely going to need some way to heat up your food or boil some water, maybe a water filter. So again, that is very dependent on how far away from home you work. Now, the next thing we're going to get into is kind of something that we don't even think about mostly. It's just what we carry every day, and that's your work everyday carry. So let me zoom in here and show you some ideas. The items that you carry into work are very important as well. Now, most of us are limited in what we can bring into a work environment, but we should all have a number of items that can assist us in a disaster. No one's going to freak out if you're carrying a flashlight, even a small trauma kit, even a tactical pen like these over here. Probably won't raise too many eyebrows, and will give you a little bit of a weapons option. A pocket knife, depending on your workplace policies. Flashlights, as you can see, we ran the gamut of big to small. If you're wearing a suit, maybe, a little more formally dressed, something like this might be perfect inside your suit vest pocket. If you have, maybe a more relaxed environment, maybe a bigger flashlight with a Surefire, so it all depends. Even something as simple as one of these, the multi-tools, isn't going to really raise too many eyebrows, and it, interestingly enough, gives you a bit of a weapon, an edged weapon, in case of the worst case scenario. The idea behind your workplace EDC is to assure you have everything you need to get to your car and grab your get-home bag. Now, mind you, your car may not be running like we said before, but your bag will still be in there, and these EDC items can serve as backups to items in your get-home bag. This pocket knife here, or one of these with a blade on them, can come in really handy if your main knife is damaged, stolen, or lost. I mean, I wouldn't feel too out of place walking around with that in my pocket if my main knife was destroyed by some freak of nature or accident or lost or whatever. So you really got to think about your EDC. You got to think about how permissive your environment is. I know when I worked in a gun shop, it was required I carried a firearm, you know. If I work in an office, that's going to raise some eyebrows, maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? Your boss may be cool with it. So you really got to think about your at-work EDC, what you carry every day. Something like this, it's a little bit of a tactical pen. It's got a pen on it. It's got a light on it. Really handy item, and wouldn't raise any eyebrows at all. And you can get rid of that stuff, and you got your pen right there with a light on it. So that's how you can come into something like that and come up with a plan for what you're going to carry. Now remember, you can also bring your get-home bags into your office, depending on how they look and how big they are. If I have something like this, the smaller one here, and you can't really see it in the camera, let me zoom up here, pan up I should say. Something like this, you can easily stick that in your office desk, at the bottom of a desk, and it's not going to raise too many eyebrows. It's not going to freak people out if you have a bag like that in there with, your get-home supplies, maybe some food, maybe some water, nothing major. Remember, too, that we live in an age of lockdowns. If the police are downstairs chasing a suspect, your building may be locked down. You may be stuck in there for a very, very long time. So maybe having a little bit of food and water in there isn't such a bad idea, because you may be in there till 7 or 8 o'clock at night when your workday ends at 5. So you might get hungry too. All right, let's move on to the last item. And this is really an important item because I don't think a lot of people think about it, or they think in limited terms of it. That last item is going to be a comms plan. Now, a lot of people think of comms as two-way communications. It's not always necessary to have that. And remember, as important it is for you to get home, you might need to coordinate to get home with other family members. Kids at school, spouses at their job, they all need to get home too. Comms may be down, so you need to depend on an alternate comms source. One of the things I mentioned before, and I've reviewed them in the past, is the GoTenna. It's a small little radio that connects to your cell phone and allows you to send text via mesh network. It's depending on where you live. If you live in a big city, it's kind of handy. If you live rural where I am, you may want to opt for something like this, which is a GPS system, a satellite system that uses GPS and satellite. This is a spot tracker. And basically what this will do is allow you to send texts via satellite, and they are pre-programmed in there, and allow somebody to follow your whole travels on a map. So while I'm getting home, say my spouse or significant other or whatever could see where I'm going. And that's really, really handy. If they have the same app on their phone, and I can check in and say, okay, or I'm here or there. A quick little text via satellite, very, very handy. I believe the plans are like $11 a month, so it's not super expensive. Remember, you have the option of radio. Ham radio, GMRS, even FRS radios, even those cheapy little ones. If you're within range of each other, say you work in the same office park, that's a perfect option. If you're willing to study and get your ham license, you can always do ham radio. If you're willing to pay $70, well, it's almost $35 now. I think they've lowered the price of it. You can get your GMRS license, and you're open to a bunch of repeaters and frequencies that you can use. So it's very, very handy to have that. Once you arrive home, you'll be able to make your next move, but you can't really do anything unless the family's together. So a rally point is important as well. Also have backups to your rally points. Try to make your rally points something geographic and less about stores and attractions, as those things may be gone or unrecognizable after a huge disaster. Saying, meet me at Walmart might sound great, but if a tornado or fire removes Walmart from the face of the earth, GPS coordinates come in handy here. Now, because those will never change, you want to think about something like that. Have a meeting point, have your kids know that if the worst case scenario comes, meet us at the corner of this street, or meet us where we used to play basketball, or, have something like that. There may not be basketball hoops there, but I guarantee you your kids are going to remember how to get there. So that's something to think about too. In short, have bunches of different places that you know to meet people up. If you're the lucky one with a vehicle and your kids have walked from school and maybe your spouse has walked and they've all met up somewhere, you're going to be able to all meet at that one location. If you have comms in some way, be it radio or satellite communications or a satellite phone, and those have become a lot more affordable these days, you will be able to contact them. Remember, cell phones are great, but they're not always working. They're not always up. And after a huge disaster, that's usually the first thing that fails. Also, too, have a way to power these items. I have a backup power solar charger here, a backup battery bank with some solar panels on it. That's just an example. Have a way to keep your devices powered up. That way, when the worst comes, if it's been sitting in your desk for a month and the battery's half drained, you got something to keep it charged up. So let's wrap this video up, and I'll give you my final thoughts on it. So to wrap it up, okay, these are three simple things you can do to make sure everyone gets home safe from work or school. Remember, if you work very close to home, having a few extra items in your vehicle is never a bad idea. I have 3 separate bags in my vehicle. One is my own personal, kit that I keep for myself and maybe blankets and stuff like that. Another is food, shelter, water, all that. And the last one is car maintenance stuff. If I was going to take one of those out of my vehicle and on my back, of course, it would probably be a mix of the personal and the food, shelter, water. But having that stuff in my vehicle, even though I work right here every day for you guys, is handy because I do travel into Vegas from time to time. And if I'm going over that mountain, and those of you that live locally here know about how the mountain can snow over and they'll just stop traffic, you can get stuck up there. And a lot of people get stuck up there, and the complaint I saw the last time was, I can't believe they stopped traffic and all I had in my car was a bottle of water. Well, that's kind of shame on you, not shame on them. If you regularly commute for your job, you should always have a little bit of emergency supplies in your vehicle. Even if you don't want to go off the wall with a big bug-out bag or whatever, you should always have something in your vehicle. And you should always have a way to carry that should your vehicle not run. I remember watching the floods in Japan when they had their huge flooding there, and watching the cars just get washed away. So that's where keeping a smaller bag maybe in your workplace isn't a bad idea. No one's going to question you walking in with a sling pack with your lunch in it one day. They're not going to freak out about that. You stick it in your desk drawer, you forget about it. It's in there, it's safe. Again, you may not want to put stuff in there that's super valuable because you worry about it getting stolen. Or maybe just, one day you don't make it to work and your desk is gone and you're laid off. But it's a good idea to have something at your place of work that you can take with you. So those are really simple, three simple steps you can take to set up a get home from work plan, and maybe even a get your kids home from school or get your spouse home from work plan without much hassle. I've been very lucky. For the last 26 years or so, I've always worked from home. Yeah, I've had part-time jobs here and there. I even had one job where 3 days a week I was driving into Vegas to work in a gun shop building rifles. But it's really, really convenient to work at home and have that luxury. If you don't work at home, and let's say, I'll give an example, say you work 5 miles from home and you take your vehicle there every day, well, having a little extra food, water, and stuff in your vehicle isn't a bad idea for many reasons. There are all sorts of short-term emergencies that might require you to use that stuff up. So it's definitely something to think about. Anyway, folks, I hope you got some ideas from the video. I didn't go too deep into what should be in your bags. Again, that's a personal thing, but I do have multiple videos on creating get-home bags and work bags and bug-out bags. So you can go back in my videos and watch those. There were too many. I'd list them, but there's so many. There's too many to put underneath the video. Anyway, folks, I thank you for watching. Don't forget to check our links down below. We have our freeze-dried wholesaler link down there. Start off the month right. Use my link and save 15%. You're going to save a lot of money by ordering your food now before the panic sets in and he runs out of stuff. Now, he's doing really good. He's got very, very well stocked up, and he has a ton of other stuff ready in the hopper for when, he kind of learned his lesson over the pandemic, and he made sure that it's not going to happen again. And he had a chance again here where everybody's starting to buy freeze-dried food, and now he can provide it for us. So he's still going strong. My link will save you 15% off everything you want to order. Our Amazon affiliate store is down below. Check that out as well. We have our My Patriot supply link. That's preparewithiridium.com. Preparewithiridium.com. We have a lot of specials up there. So go and check it out. You can save a lot of money, and you can get prepared quickly. That's what I like about that site. You don't have to go, do I want this? Do I want that? No, I want 3 months of food. Boom, put it at my door in a week, and it's there. And we have our Thrive Life store as well. For those of you that are interested, check out Thrive Life. You don't need to join anything to purchase the food. I think Thrive got a reputation in the beginning of kind of being an MLM and stuff, and you have to join it to get the discounts. Well, you do have to be either a delivery customer or a consultant to get the discounts. But just to try the food, heck, you can order a can of chicken, see if you like it. I find it to be very clean, pure food, and I really like it. Anyway, folks, I thank you for watching. Stay safe and stay prepared.